Before Ye was cancelled and debanked, something eerily similar happened to a British rapper by the name of Wiley.
Industry where he's regarded as an enigmatic figure. That is until he posted a series of anti-Semitic comments on social media.
Just like Ye, in what felt like the snap of a finger, everything changed.
He's been heavily criticized for insulting Jewish people and comparing them to the Ku Klux Klan.
The similarities are uncanny, but with some key differences. Wiley's career now seems to be over.
I just made an album with an Oyster card, no money, support from friends and family. Ask them, they'll tell you. Like, lending me money here and there where I needed it, they'll tell you.
Very few people have defended his comments, but many people argued that the punishment did not fit the supposed crime. So let's take a look at exactly what happened and whether his downfall was deserved or if he was just early. Wiley might not mean much to a lot of Americans, but the UK music scene would simply not exist in the way that it does without him. To cut a long story short, he was the godfather of grime music, or as Stormzy explained to Charlemagne,
Wiley is the figurehead of what we do. He's started this.
He's considered the king of the grime culture.
He's the godfather. He's more culturally important than being like the king of a genre. He is grime. Like when you look at Wiley, he's grime. He invented this. He started it. He pioneered it. All of those words.
Despite pioneering the genre in the early 2000s, he would never reach the same heights as a Dizzy Rascal, Skepta, or Stormzy. He did have chart success with the songs Wearing My Rolex and Heatwave, but mainly had more of a cult following and a legendary status. In fact, his legacy was so respected that in 2018 he received an honor from Buckingham Palace for his contributions to British music. Here he became a member of the British Empire, or MBE, which is a couple of ranks below getting knighthood. Much like Ye, he was also known for courting controversy, most notably when he accused Drake and Ed Sheeran of being culture vultures. But these controversies would pale in comparison to what happened in July of 2020. Around that time, Wiley had just released the song Boasty alongside Idris Elba, Stefan Don, and Sean Paul, which opened him up to a new fan base. Grime fans were also excited about his upcoming album Godfather 3, which was the third installment of his iconic Godfather series of LPs. But suddenly, all of the attention shifted away from his music. Instead, all eyes were on his Twitter profile and some of the inflammatory things he was saying. On July 24, 2020, keep in mind this is peak COVID times, Wiley posted a series of controversial tweets, one of which read, "Listen to me, Jewish community, Israel's not your country. I'm sorry, the Star of David, that's our thing. Some people have gotten too comfortable on lands that don't belong to them." He also posted Israel is ours and Black History lesson for today. So just like Ye, but a little bit more similar to Kyrie Irving, Wiley was espousing the Hebrew Israelite theory that African Americans are the real Jews or Semitic people, something which is a belief system, but a lot of people feel that it's not backed by historical evidence. Wiley has a Caribbean heritage, so would have a broadly similar ancestry to African Americans. What really upset people was another set of tweets which read, "There are two sets of people who nobody has really wanted to challenge. Hashtag Jewish and hashtag KKK, but being in business for 20 years, you start to understand why." Now, the second one is more of an American organization, or was an American organization, as opposed to the first. Followed by, rednecks are the KKK and Jewish people are the law. Work that out. So this equivalence between those people and the Triple K was seen as highly offensive, particularly because Jewish people were also a target of the Triple K. As well as offense, there was just sheer confusion by a lot of people. Why was Wiley suddenly speaking out about this now? The root cause, or at least the catalyst, seemed to be his fallout with his manager, John Wolfe, who also happens to be Jewish. Around this time, Nick Cannon was under bullets. It was raining hell for him for promoting Hebrew Israelite theories, and he would also have to write several book reports to get himself out of that situation. So just like Ye, Wiley had been wronged by individual Jewish people and decided to take aim at them in general. An important distinction is that Wiley did not show any whatsoever explicit support for a certain German party in history, but did write, I don't care about Hitler. I care about black people. He also wrote, Jewish people, you think you are too important. I am sick of you. So these comments caused a lot of controversy, but there was another controversy from the response. Because of these tweets, Wiley was being investigated by the police. And this only fueled the narrative that, hey, they have too much power, according to him. But the reason behind police involvement seemed to be from a tweet which read, Jewish people, you make me sick and I will not budge, hold this corn. This tweet is open to interpretation, but the phrase hold corn often refers to people getting some chrome. And using language that could incite violence towards any community is a crime in the UK. So you can see why the police felt that this was worth investigating. John Wolfe also made a response on social media and said that he was, quote, talking to him privately and knows that he does not truly feel this way. But the very next morning, John wrote, following Wiley's anti-Semitic tweets today, we at A-List Management have cut all ties with him. There is no place in society for anti-Semitism. The famous beatboxer Beardy Man, who's Jewish and knows Wiley, also tried to reason with him and tweeted, Wiley called me, spoke to him for an hour. He really believes the stuff he tweeted. I tried many times to demonstrate the equivalence between all forms of prejudice. He concurred every time, but lurched back into rage-filled conspiracies every time. Might try again today. This private fallout between Wiley and John Wolfe had now become extremely public, and a heavy backlash soon followed. Wiley had not just been dropped by his management, but now faced losing his entire career. As you can imagine, people were really upset with Wiley, and this was 2020. But also with Twitter and the Jack Dorsey era, posting comments like these would typically result in a ban of some sort, but Wiley continued to tweet at will for a couple of days. And this was a counter-argument to Wiley's narrative that they were too powerful. Many people in the Jewish community argued that if someone had gone on a lengthy tirade about black people on Twitter, they would immediately be banned. The Jewish comedian David Badial wrote, Wiley's still going, and Twitter, in its failure to act, when they act pretty fast in suspensions normally, enhances and intensifies the idea that hate speech against Jews is a lesser, more insignificant form of the category. Maybe not hate speech at all. Eventually, after a lot more people like him tweeted out, and they even started a hashtag in a movement, Wiley's Twitter account was suspended. But for many people, that wasn't enough. Instead, a 48-hour boycott of Twitter was led by many prominent Jewish and non-Jewish people in Britain. There were also calls for Wiley to be stripped of his MBE. And eventually, Wiley was permanently banned from Twitter and Instagram. However, the controversy was far from over, and this had now become a huge story. Britain's then Prime Minister Boris Johnson said that Twitter needs to do better, and the offending messages should not have been able to remain on Twitter and Instagram for so long. In the hopes of clearing things up, Wiley was invited onto Sky News. However, this only served to fan the flames even further. At this point, many people would have backed down, maybe took a knee, maybe stayed quiet, or in the case of Nick Cannon, wrote a couple of book reports and got back all of the work that they had put decades into their careers. But Wiley began by explaining that he believed that he was not racist.
I'm not racist, you know. I'm a businessman.
So if you're not racist, then why did you make the following anti-Semitic comment? I'm going to quote the tweet that you put out. You said, Jewish community, you're too touchy. Anyway, Israel is not yours. Hold that.
Do I see why that could be as racism?
Should I read it again?
No, you don't need to read it again. If I read what anti-Semitism is, and it says the Jewish community is powerful within business, that's racist, I think that's silly. I don't care what nobody says. I want to apologise for generalising, number one, and I want to apologise for comments that were looked at as anti-Semitic.
So Wiley apologized for some of the explicitly offensive things he said about those people, but stopped short at apologizing for some of the, what was labeled tropes and stereotypes that he had leaned into. The reason why these stereotypes were so offensive is because they were heavily used in Germany during World War II, and many British Jews only live in England because their families fled Germany during this period. But Wiley claimed that he had legitimate reasons for being angry.
The music industry, batch of people I'm talking about, they're the ones who get to benefit from it. That's what this is all about. It's systemic racism from their side. What do you think? The system And that man and a community of Jewish lawyers and thingy have made me feel that way. Yes, they have. They've made me feel that way. Not anti-Semitic. They've made me feel angry and upset because they are showing me the systemic racism and privilege that they're allowed to use on us.
His narrative was seen as implicating ordinary Jewish people into something they had absolutely nothing to do with, and also ignored the many non-Jewish people in powerful positions in the music industry. Wiley was then given a chance to speak to his Jewish fans and members of the community in general.
What do you want to say to those fans who may misinterpret what you've said?
Well, what do you mean what I want to say to them fans? When they watch this, they'll realise what has gone on, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but what do you want to say? You know,
what do I want to say to someone who is part of that community? What do they want to say to someone who's part of mine?
To your fans who
no, but
may
don't say mine.
Take your comments.
You know, fans are fickle. Don't wind me up. I'm 41 years old. It's not like I got all big bag of fans. Allow it. I'm not Dave.
But you've got followers on
No,
Twitter,
don't try it. I'm not Dave and that. I'm not current. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? I'm 41. I'm at the end of my career rather than the beginning.
Then the conversation turned to his MBE.
There are calls for you to be stripped of your MBE.
Take it back. I've never had that in my possession except for a picture outside Buckingham Palace. Everything that gets done is for John Wolfe. I ain't got an award or a plaque or nothing. I ain't got nothing in my yard to show. John Wolfe's got the MBE. I've never had the MBE. It's framed in his house. Now, who was the MBE for? Really? Don't think that I was sitting there like, oh, where's my MBE? I need my OBE. I need my knighthood. Where's my Richard Branson? No.
A spokesperson for Wiley's former manager, John Wolfe, says the rapper's MBE has been framed and is waiting for him to collect.
Most people agree that Wiley didn't come across well in this interview, but it was also edited in a very sensationalized way. In the print version of the interview, he explained that he meant hold corn lyrically and didn't actually refer to harming people. So this very important clarification doesn't feature on the YouTube video everyone saw. Later on, Wiley went back to the same spot and said more about John Wolfe.
But you know what? I realise now, John, I did that to get rid of you. I'm not anti-Semitic and I'm not racist. I just did that to get rid of you because I knew your dad wouldn't let you play out with me.
But all of these rants left Wiley completely deplatformed. After Twitter and Instagram, he was also banned from YouTube, Twitch, and was pretty much cut off from any social media platform. He was even on alternative platform Parler for several months. In the aftermath, there were people not necessarily jumping to his defense like they did Ye, but arguing that the response was disproportionate. And once again, some interesting conversations emerged about how racism towards different groups of people seemed to result in different punishments. The British DJ Chucky pointed out that there have been people in the media criticizing the Muslim community, but don't seem to receive any sort of punishment whatsoever.
There was a newspaper, The Sun, and they put, I think, did I take a screenshot of it? I'll tell you now. The screenshot said, never mind singing John Lennon songs, we need less Islam. That's what The Sun put.
On the headline.
Yeah. Okay, I know where I was going now. I know where I was going. So I think some people may feel that if you change the word and someone said, never mind singing John Lennon songs, we need less Judaism, that some people may feel like the bar that is up here would be put into place in terms of the punishment. And so some people may feel that, you know what, it's the issue isn't so much with the bar. The issue is with, we want that.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? When that happens, we want
the same
that.
treatment.
We want that same thing, yeah?
And if anything, this heavy clampdown on Wiley may have even made things worse.
But I think that, like, for some people who feel this way, it fuels that narrative that is why it is a certain thing happens for some people and it doesn't happen for someone else. And then it makes somebody like Wiley then say, okay, you've sent X, Y, and Z to my house. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
In the magazine Trench, Joseph Patterson wrote, much of my issue is that the same energy from the wider general public was not kept when anti-Islamist Tommy Robinson, unemployed far-right troll Katie Hopkins, and Brexiteer Nick Farage still spout their hateful comments online. Black people had requested for a number of years for all of them, Hopkins especially, to be removed from Twitter, but no. We waited and waited and waited. But when it is Wiley, a black man, which is important to note here, it's dealt with almost on the spot. How quick are the police to act when black people get racially abused online or otherwise? These are serious questions we need to ask ourselves. In the midst of all this, The Guardian featured an article about Wiley, but mistakenly used a picture of the rapper Kanye instead, who you might also know as Sully from Top Boy. Despite being deplatformed, Wiley did get the chance to do another interview. The rapper and YouTuber Poet invited Wiley onto his channel, but before the interview, Poet acknowledged just how sensitive a topic this could be.
You know, I don't condone racism in any capacity. I don't condone any type of prejudice. But the one thing I'm not going to do in life is let people allow a massive error to dictate the rest of somebody's life.
In this interview, Wiley claimed that his recent struggles in the music industry have come from working with Jewish people.
For the last 2.5 years, the demographic of people have been trying to block me and do all sorts of to my career anyway. So 2.5 years and the last 20 anyway, on and off.
Wiley then began to make this part of a wider conspiracy.
Twitter, shut down. Who owns Twitter, do you reckon? Instagram, shut down. Who owns Instagram, do you reckon? Facebook, shut down. We all know who owns Facebook. YouTube, shut down. Google, who owns that, do you reckon?
By far, the most important part of this interview was that Wiley was accused of Holocaust denial, and this stemmed from a fake tweet that appeared online.
Because someone tried to throw there was denial in there. There wasn't. That was a fake tweet. Someone made up.
Someone made up a
photoshopped
tweet.
And threw in the mix.
I heard that tweet was real.
No, that tweet was a lie, because I don't tweet like... Do you know how I talk? Look at my tweets.
I know how you... The thing is, do you know what it was? Because I wasn't on Twitter at the time, someone gave me that tweet, and I didn't say... I can't lie, I didn't say to you, he didn't say that, or I didn't say he did say that.
But it just looked like it.
So this tweet read, "If you think that the Holocaust is real, you're crazy. They invented that ish, so they could get away with all they're doing now. They're in power, they're the police, wake the F up." And there are articles in GQ and Vice you can still find today that call Wiley a denier. At the same time, Wiley isn't being entirely factual either. For example, Mark Zuckerberg does indeed come from a Jewish background, but Jack Dorsey comes from an Italian background. Wiley might feel like he has been deplatformed, but he did also breach the guidelines of all of those platforms at the time. Adam Gross from Ineffable Records has given the following rebuttal to Ye, which some people feel also applies to Wiley.
Let's talk about the issues in the music business. Let's talk about the issues of power.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the issues that exist and the corruption, these things.
But you don't think
But let's not say Jews.
Yeah.
Let's say individuals. Some of them are Jewish. Some of them are not Jewish.
Yeah.
Some of them are white. Some of them are Hispanic.
Some of them
are
black
this.
too.
Some of them are black.
So there's definitely a wider conversation that gets drowned out with these controversies. Educating young musicians on what contracts to sign and preventing them from being exploited would definitely be a much more beneficial thing for both Wiley and Ye to promote, which the latter has promoted a lot for going on 10 years. But when the dust settled on Wiley's controversy, it was clear that his career was now in serious jeopardy and he wasn't able to repair it in the way that Ye was. Without any social media or management, it was almost impossible to promote any of his music. Even if Wiley wanted to tour, it would also be difficult to get the word out too. By 2021, the rapper Giggs decided to come to Wiley's defense, tweeting, "I think it's time Wiley got back his platforms now. He was a bloody idiot and said some stupid ish, but now I think just give him a chance to make a sincere apology and let his lesson be learned. The man got 3 kids to feed. He showed me what time it is. Let's move on now." This post also received support from Busta Rhymes and Ebro, who's half Jewish. Just like Ye, Wiley is known for saying crazy things. So just like Kanye being Kanye, this was Wiley being Wiley. The problem with this is that Wiley did not give an unequivocal apology for his actions, and the title of his upcoming album suggested that not much had changed. Daniel Sugarman, the director of public affairs for the Board of Deputies of British Jews, responded, "I think the Jewish community would welcome a sincere apology. Instead, we have Wiley produce an album called Anti-Systemic, which I believe is due out this month." And in December of 2021, Campaign Against Anti-Semitism shared this video from Wiley.
Why did that happen between them? Why? You know what I'm saying? Why? Why did Hitler hate you? For nothing?
Why did he hate you? Exactly.
And with that video in 2021, it was clear that this wasn't just one moment of madness, but deeply entrenched views. And just like with some of the things Ye said, this was a statement that was very difficult to come back from. So much so that simply associating yourself with Wiley was deemed offensive. The next year, Manchester United players Jesse Lingard and Marcus Rashford had to apologize for appearing in a photo with Wiley in Dubai. Facing pushback from social media, Rashford wrote, "I wasn't aware of comments that had been made when I got pulled into a photo opportunity. Comments that I absolutely condemn. I apologize for any upset caused. We all just happened to be in the same place at the same time." The next year, a strange story emerged where Wiley was charged with breaking into a kickboxer's house and physically assaulting him. In response, Wiley posted,
Would you break into a kickboxer's house and kick him?
But Wiley has been gradually allowed to do concerts and interviews again, but just at a much lower level than before. In this interview in 2023, he admitted that the way he approached everything was wrong.
It would be better for me to come out and say, some people within the music industry are bad people. And within business, you think that people are trying to help you. In actual fact, some people are trying to bump you. Some people will feed you up like a chicken, be with you, make money, take their cut, make money. And then as it gets towards the end, feed you up like a chicken, chop your head off. There's better ways to say it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Right?
But as the years went on, things supposedly had gone from bad to worse. In 2024, Wiley finally got his MBE taken away from him. And in 2025, a worrying video surfaced about his financial situation.
I just made an album with an Oyster card, no money, support from friends and family. Ask them, they'll tell you. Like, lending me money here and there where I needed it, they'll tell you. The album's sick. Listen, go to your mum's house, yeah? No one in there has normal milk. No one in there has sugar. I go shop, I get normal milk, sugar. 1-2 days, whatnot. My milk is low and my sugar's low. But when I got here, no one has milk and normal milk. Everyone's having oat milk and no one has sugar, apparently. But when I go shop now, we're all drinking now, apparently. We like normal milk and sugar and that. Now I can't even find the sugar.
But the caption of this video is misleading. His brother clarified that he often stays at his mother's house to see his family and is not living with his mother.
All right, we need to stop the cap. My brother said he went to visit his mum and bought some milk. He said, I went to my mum's house and bought some milk.
However, this doesn't debunk Wiley's claim that he had been making his latest album on a shoestring budget and borrowing money from other people. This is the same for many rappers in their 40s, but it's hard to imagine that his past comments hadn't been a huge factor. And if they had been made this year or even last year, I don't even think he would have been banned on any of these platforms. The final comparison you can make with Ye is that Wiley is also his own worst enemy. There were plenty of times where he could have fully apologized and patched things up, but he refused to make amends. And there were issues like the Hold Corn tweet where he was misinterpreted, and he was also completely defamed with the denial tweet. Wiley's a harsh lesson in that some people like Ye are too big to fail. And if you can't take on certain challenges like he can, it may be better off just staying quiet.